It is Monday. Usually comes right after Sunday, and this is Christmas week. Already, the year 2014 is gone, and we will see what happens just around the corner. We're going to spend this first hour and do something that's going to be a particularly great value to many of you who still watch television. Now, I know a lot of you out there who watch television get it. But what you don't get is the technology being used against even those of you who are aware to put you into a mentally altered state that disallows you from passing intellectual judgment, common sense, or any other value system filter through the material you're hearing. It goes right in. It suspends moral, intellectual processes upon which we really depend to maintain our relative dominance on the planet, and we become quite programmable. Our first hour, we're going to talk to, we're not going to stalk him, we're going to talk to him. He's a friend of mine. His name is Dick Allgire, and I'm sure many of you remember his name from previous visits and some of the things we've talked about. He is an extraordinary remote viewer. Just one of the best in the world, maybe the best. He's that good. But our main topic is going to be, as I said, TV news. Now, Dick, as some of you probably know, but most of you don't know, achieved a lot of notoriety, as I said, in remote viewing, but he has spent a long career as an award-winning broadcast journalist. Television journalist, a journalist, working in the mainstream, where most journalists work, in local television in Hawaii for 38 years. 38 years. We're going to hear some inside behind-the-scenes information from Dick. Stories about television news from a man who is quite awake, but often had to hide that fact. Now imagine that. You're in the news business. You listen to this program. You get it. You're in the mainstream news. You've got to earn your living somehow, and that's how you do it. So you've got to play dumb. Now Dick's going to explain why your evening local TV news broadcast is no longer journalism, if it ever was, and I have my doubts. I think many of you may remember I was 12 years a television news director and anchorman and reporter and writer and all the rest of it, and I walked away from it. I had a good job, but I couldn't stomach it. Dick's a tougher man than I. He's also going to tell us what it's like to have to toe the line, to keep your mouth shut, and only report on what is acceptable within the controlled paradigm to keep that job. You got to keep that money coming in, or you're not going to make it in this life. Most especially, Dick Allgire has had to keep his mouth shut when covering the Oreo cookie in the White House, who hails, well, generally speaking, from Hawaii. And he is there right now. The President of the United States, the formerly United States, which Dick Allgire has done more than a few stories on a number of occasions. By the way, the man himself, the Emperor, is there on the island, as I said, with you right now, Dick. Can we expect to see you bow and genuflect at the feet of the great man this time around? You going to drive by where he's staying and salute, stand at attention, or anything else?
Well, he's right over the hill, and Jeff, good to talk with you again. I got to tell you, though, your orchestra played the wrong music for the occasion at the beginning of the show. So let me start over. Let me cue my band here, and they'll play this is Christmas in Hawaii.
Well, I have union or orchestral music, and you got the non-union type, so you do what you want.
Yeah, well, okay, it's Christmas in Hawaii, so here's the theme song.
Oh, God.
Yeah, hail to the Emperor. Okay, so, yeah, he's
You could have played the Three Stooges theme. It would have been better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bad. The sad thing about trying to make light of this is how many people are dying because of this creep. and have died and will die. He's got 2 more years of killing. And believe me, this country is the world's great Satan. You folks know it. We have killed more people in the Middle East, for example, in the last 15 years than you can count. 3, 4, 5, 6 million? Who knows? Nobody knows. So yes, the Emperor-in-Chief, the Commander-in-Chief, the Emperor himself, the Great One, Mr. Smiley, Mr. Teleprompter, is a killer. Period.
Well, I've got an interesting couple of stories. We'll get into that a little later. I've got a couple of good stories that I've never told, and I was trying to think about whether I should tell these on a big national radio show, but
actually, it's not national. It's worldwide.
It's worldwide.
That's
Internet.
even more. That's even more reason that you're hereby commanded to tell the stories. Please.
Oh no, I'm not going to. You just talked me out of it.
Ah,
you know,
damn.
Jeff, you said in the intro that I'm tougher than you are, but I don't. That's something we can talk about tonight. I think you're tougher than I am because you had the guts to walk away from it and do what your heart and conscience told you to do, and did what you believed was right. You know, so you have that. You have your courage.
Couple
and your
ways to look at it,
honor
I
and
guess.
dignity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a pension. I think.
Well,
Yeah,
so far, I had a major job offering in to go anchor in Portland, Oregon. There's a big market, and I just said, no, I'm done, finished. It's not going anywhere but down, and I want nothing to do with it.
Well, since you left, it really has gone down. I mean, it's like
oh my God, I've seen a few examples of it. I cringe when I see it.
Yeah. Real briefly, I want to get into I don't know a lot about the technology because as a local news reporter, you're not, we don't design. And I think even the technicians at the local level don't design the technology and the graphics more than just copy what comes from the networks. But the other day I was exercising. Here's what I do. I download all of your shows. I subscribe to the archives.
Thank you.
So I listen to you a day late or a couple days late. I download the MP3 files. I put them on my iPhone, and then I can listen whenever I want when I'm driving around or exercising. And I've listened to all your shows for 12 or 15 years. Can't remember. So the other day, I went to it's a little bit cold in Hawaii. So I went to the local fitness center, and I was on an elliptical machine for 40 minutes listening to your show. So I put the earbuds in, and you had a really interesting guest. I think it was Gerald Salenti.
Always
and I'm listening to that.
Yeah.
Oh, always great. Fantastic. On the wall, facing these exercise machines, are big screen, flat screen, high-def televisions that are on without the sound, but the closed captioning. So they're staring you right in the face. So I'm there with my head down on the elliptical machine, listening to a great conversation on your show. It was something I was interested in and really wanted to hear and was engaged with. But I noticed about 15 minutes in, I hadn't heard or registered a word that had been said in my ears, even though I was actively trying to listen to it. The TVs sucked my vision into the screen and entrained me into those colors and that video amphetamine light show. And I realized, wow, I didn't hear it. So I backed it up. I got to listen to this. So I try to listen again, keep exercising, look up. All of a sudden, my jaw is open, and
It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. You stare at it, it's got you within seconds.
Well, I bought a big screen TV in 2006. I don't watch a lot, but I kind of felt I needed one because I'm in the business. So when I bought the high-def TV and brought it home and plugged it in, it was like sitting there with a heroin needle in my arm. I mean, I just sat there and was, wow. I don't like basketball, and I was watching basketball games just because it was so visually intense. You know, I mean, I would flip through the channels like, what's this? What's this? Oh, wow. It really is insidious.
That's a very
really
interesting
bad.
story of basically having come through a trance and not having heard a thing, even though you were listening. You didn't hear anything. That's how that's how powerful the medium is.
Here's the scary thing is, I went back just 2 days ago, and I did it again. But I thought, I am not going to look at those screens. I'm going to listen to this radio interview, and I just couldn't do it. It just blocks it out, even when you're aware of it.
I hear you 100%. I just ran a story the other day. It's not just the audio, video. Video meaning camera angles, camera shots, movement, and all the rest of it. It's color. It's HD color. And they use colors to entrain the brain, just like they do the rest of it. And when you get all three of those venues together, the Three Musketeers, it's a steamroller, and you don't have a chance. You'd have to literally sit there and fight it off. And I didn't even think then it's going to be very successful, Dick. It's that overwhelming.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, Jeff, kind of in preparation for the show, I turned on my high-def TV and I turned on ESPN. And I just looked at it critically. You should do this sometime. Go somewhere where there's ESPN Sports Center or some football game. I don't know what it was, but I looked at the screen and they had 4 guys on a set talking about football. But they were in like the upper, if you look at the screen, they were the upper 2/3 of the screen in the left. Along the right side, well, the screen was divided into 6 sections. So there's 4 guys sitting at a desk, and then off to the right is a list of coming up next week's schedule, this week's passing leader, most first downs rushing, and it kept changing. This list kept changing. And then below were 3 layered banners at the bottom. So you've got one banner that has Twitter accounts where football stars, and I don't do Twitter, but I think it was football stars, and then maybe viewers were sending in their little comments. So those would flash, like so-and-so says blah, blah, blah.
So live interactive audience. Then all this constantly changing information. The 4 guys at the desk. That's like watching 6 televisions.
Yeah, and then below that was a banner with a scrolling thing, all moving, like week 17 winner clinches the South title. And then when they took the shot of the guys at the desk, I timed it. The shot changed every 3 seconds. And every 4th shot, they had a camera movement. So they take a close of someone else, and then they'd take a wide shot, but the camera would be moving. It would be panning. And then every time that would cycle through the next 4th shot, the camera would be pedestaling up or zooming.
Reverse zoom, switch,
back.
pan, swish, pan, zoom. Every movement you can imagine programmed in there along with static shots. And whenever you see a moving camera, you do not want to, it's intuitive, instinctive. You don't want to take your eyes away because it's going somewhere. Something's happening. I want to see where it's going. There's that thing to see something through, to get to a resolution.